It's been a few days here since the Game Awards and the reveal of Sephiroth from Final Fantasy VII as Challenger Pack 8, and I always like to reassess where we are at with speculation after any big Smash news like this. So let's take a look at where speculation is with the leaks and rumors and theories and all that after the reveal of Sephiroth. I really like Sephiroth, although I'll admit I wasn't expecting him at all. He's a super iconic villain, up there among the most iconic video game bad guys for sure, and he is our first DLC villain character, which is pretty cool to see. There are few video game characters as badass as Sephiroth, and back in the late 90s, his notoriety as a cool villain was legendary among gamers. The moment where Sephiroth kills Aerith is the I am your father moment of video games. It took everyone by surprise when it happened, and I think every gamer knows about it now. Yes, both of those are spoilers, so please forgive me for decades-old spoilers here. One really cool thing for me personally about getting Sephiroth in Smash is an artist friend of mine made this image a long time ago, and now finally Link vs. Sephiroth will be a reality in Smash. Pretty sweet. Anyway, I mostly wasn't expecting Sephiroth because he's our first non-Echo fighter from an already represented third-party series. So even if a second Final Fantasy rep got into Smash, I expected it to be from an entry in the series not yet represented in Smash. But we ended up getting Sephiroth from Final Fantasy VII, which is the same game Cloud is from. So he's our first villain DLC, he's our first non-Echo fighter from an existing third-party series, and of course it seems every new Smash character we get tends to break another one of these fan rules, so I guess we should expect the unexpected more. A Square character being part of this fighter pass was something I expected, however. Since we had gotten 2 Square Spirit events during our second Fighters Pass, I figured Square was still on board with Smash, and a Square character was inevitable. However, even thinking that, I still wasn't expecting Sephiroth. I thought Geno or Sora was more likely to be our Square rep, but here we are. Now, obviously, as a huge Geno fan, I do want to say I really do like Sephiroth, and totally think he deserves a spot on the Smash roster. If I take Sephiroth getting into Smash just on its own, he's one of the most iconic villains of all time, and a very cool character in his own right. I think very few people would say they dislike Sephiroth. He's a good choice for Smash. But I will come clean, it's unavoidable for me as a Geno fan not to feel some disappointment here. And that has nothing to do with Sephiroth himself, but entirely to do with the implications of Sephiroth getting into Smash at this point in the game. Likely Geno is not coming to Smash, as a fully playable character anyway. And same can be said for Sora as well, and any other characters from Square like Lara Croft or Chrono or Neku, and many, many more. Square just has a lot of very cool characters tons of people would like to see. Now I say likely they won't be coming to Smash because it isn't a 100% guarantee this is the last Square character, and I will go over a bit later in this video the possibilities for characters like Geno and Sora to maybe still have a chance, but no, I'm not personally banking on it anymore myself. I think Sephiroth is our last Square rep, for this pass anyway. Who knows what the future of Smash will hold. If a third pass happens, then everything's back on the table. On a more positive note for myself, I'm happy we dodged the Fortnite bullet at the Game Awards. Also, if any character had to kill Geno's chances for Smash, I'm kind of glad it was Sephiroth. I mean, this is the video game villain known for killing off a character. They even did that whole fake out in the reveal trailer with Sephiroth nearly killing Mario. That's how much he's known for killing characters. So if Geno and Sora's chances for Smash had to be struck down, I'm glad Sephiroth is the one to do it. Feels oddly fitting. And yes, once again, I'm aware they're not completely 100% out of the running just yet. Sora has Disney ownership, so maybe he wouldn't even count as a Square character or whatever. I will talk about all that in a bit. But first, I want to talk about a few cool things with Sephiroth himself. Here's his picture on the banner. He's been placed right next to Cloud. He has a bunch of different alts, including this shirtless alt. I also can't wait to see Kirby with super long Sephiroth hair. Also, many people have messaged me and pointed out that the website, when Sephiroth was added, still had 4 question mark spots for 4 more fighters. But this has happened every time a new fighter has been added to the site, so it's almost certainly just a website glitch. We haven't seen specifics on Sephiroth's gameplay, but it appears he grows this one wing at some point during his game mechanics. He probably has some sort of meter that builds up to that, likely similar to Joker's Arsene. Actually, there's an image of Chrom on the official Smash website that some people took as a hint towards Sephiroth all the way back when Smash Ultimate's site first showed up. I wonder how long Sephiroth has actually been in the works. We know Steve was negotiated for like 5 years ago, so maybe Sephiroth was negotiated for a while ago as well, or at least maybe he was on the table for a while before they chose to do a second Fighters Pass. Although it hasn't been totally confirmed yet, this is likely Sephiroth's stage. It might be the life stream, I think, and it might be a transforming stage. One odd thing a lot of people noticed with Sephiroth's trailer was that when they showed the Smash Bros. X Final Fantasy, it was Smash Bros. X Final Fantasy, and not Smash Bros. X Final Fantasy VII. However, that was only in the English version of the trailer. The Japanese version did say Final Fantasy VII. At first, I was hopeful this might mean Sephiroth could bring Final Fantasy music from all their entries, but now on the website, he is listed specifically as Final Fantasy VII, and again, in the Japanese version of the trailer, it specifically said Final Fantasy VII, so I assume his music tracks will probably just be Final Fantasy VII stuff. Even still, Final Fantasy VII has like no spirits besides Cloud, and only 2 music tracks, so Sephiroth getting in Smash will hopefully boost up the Final Fantasy representation, which has been criminally underrepresented since base game, so that's a nice plus here. I know a lot of people have been complaining about how dismal Final Fantasy's representation in Smash has been. The trailer was rated E through T, probably for some of the more intense moments like the Mario death fakeout, and Nomura is credited as a character designer specifically, so that's pretty interesting. I wonder if what Imran Khan said about Nintendo going to Disney to try and get Sora but negotiations falling through is true. Maybe they went with a different Nomura created character, Sephiroth, when they couldn't get Sora. One interesting thing to note was that Erdrick was used instead of the Dragon Quest XI protagonist. I prefer Erdrick myself, and I've been talking about the possibility of him being the original main costume for Hero at one point in the game's development, so I don't know if Sakurai just prefers that look as well, or what, but I found it interesting that Erdrick, or the Dragon Quest III protagonist, was used instead of Hero's main costume, the Dragon Quest XI protagonist, for this cinematic trailer. It was honestly just really cool to see everyone teaming up against a villain newcomer. Maybe another villain could get into Smash before the end of this pass. Now that Sephiroth is in Smash as a second unique newcomer from a third-party game series, someone like Dr. Robotnik feels like a good choice for a character. Eggman is probably one of the most iconic gaming villains, not yet in Smash, now that Sephiroth's in, so it would be really cool to get him in before the end of all this. On Twitter, @SteamKaiju wrote, "New theory hot off the press," and it's a picture of a 4chan post. It says, if you look at the animated parts of every reveal trailer, it becomes clear that Nintendo avoids the use of non-Nintendo fighters in supporting roles, with the exception of Ridley's reveal trailer. Until now. In the recent Sephiroth trailer, they suddenly used Microsoft, Konami, and Sega characters next to characters from Nintendo and Square. Long story short, I think they're using characters from companies that are involved with Fighter Pass number 2. 2 of the next 3 Smash Bros. DLC fighters will probably be from Sega and Konami. One of the next 3 fighters will either be first or second party, or from a third party company that doesn't have any fighters represented in Smash. That's very interesting to me. We already have a Microsoft and now Square rep this pass, but maybe we will get a Konami or Sega rep, as those companies still seem on board with their characters being shown off in Sephiroth's reveal trailer. Notably, no Capcom characters are here, and we haven't heard any Capcom Smash leaks from the big Capcom leak, so maybe this is onto something. Keep in mind, us getting those Square Spirit events did mean Square was still on board for the second pass, and now we've gotten Sephiroth. So maybe seeing characters from Konami and Sega in Sephiroth's reveal trailer means those companies are on board for the second pass as well. Sakurai tweeted out this image after Sephiroth was revealed, a Smash recreation of a classic Sephiroth moment. And of course, this Thursday we'll be getting a Sakurai Presents for Sephiroth. Nintendo of America tweeted, the one-winged angel Sephiroth from the Final Fantasy series joins #Smash Bros. Ultimate as a DLC fighter later this month. Tune in at 2 p.m. PT on 12/17 for a presentation from director Masahiro Sakurai all about the DLC fighter, including the release date. On Discord, Cooler Nino wrote to me, "Yo Papa, I just realized Sakurai did hint at Sephiroth in Steve's presentation video," referring to that moment when Sakurai mentioned the Geomancer job in Final Fantasy. So the Final Fantasy series was referenced in Steve's presentation, so maybe we should read into what Sakurai talks about in those. Of course, when we get the Mr. Sakurai Presents Sephiroth, we should also see the next wave of Mii costumes during that presentation. And I believe, most likely, Geno will be the fan-dubbed deluxe Mii costume for this wave. There was a moment here where I thought maybe Geno would be revealed as a playable fighter during Sephiroth's presentation. This was mostly because of something that Stagecraft Beast on Twitter noticed. They wrote, "Seems we might get a reveal for the 4th DLC character of the second Fighter's Pass during Sephiroth's presentation. Keep in mind, it'll probably be like what happened with Terry, where it's a reveal but no gameplay." And if you look, they were very clear in telling us no new fighter would get revealed before the last two presentations. However, this time they did not say this for the Sephiroth presentation. They haven't said there's not going to be another character revealed. Suddenly, this was really exciting to me. Maybe some kind of Geno me fake out at the end of the video was going to lead to a Geno reveal at the end of the Sephiroth presentation. I was doubtful two Square characters could happen this pass, but with the lack of Nintendo of America tweeting about how there wouldn't be a new fighter revealed, I thought maybe that was really about to happen. However, sadly, this thought was short-lived, as the Japanese account does specify no new fighter will get revealed during the Sephiroth presentation. So sadly, most likely, Geno isn't going to get revealed on Thursday as a playable fighter, and only possibly as a Mii costume. Geno is a Square rep, Sephiroth is a Square rep, and I don't expect two from the same company in this Fighters Pass. Although it's still possible, I just don't expect it. As someone who really wants a fully playable Geno in Smash, this has always been a possibility I've been bracing for, and honestly, I can live with it if it happens. Actually, I'm kind of excited to see what a fully rendered, official Geno will look like in Smash, and that could be happening this Thursday. Geno was a Mii costume before, so this was always something that might happen, and ever since Sans was announced with a music track and that deluxe-style Mii costume, I figured that might be what they were saving Geno for. Sans was greeted as if he was announced as a playable fighter by fans, and there were jokes that maining Mii Gunner really meant you wanted to main Sans, so I hope a Geno Deluxe Mii costume will be accepted with the same enthusiasm. The Deluxe Miis also usually get little mini reveal trailers, so I hope if Geno is the Deluxe Mii on Thursday, his trailer is really cool. Also, he'll almost certainly come with a music track, most likely Beware the Forest Mushrooms, and Sakurai will probably say something about him. I hope Sakurai mentions the fan demand for this character. With Nintendo choosing the DLC, it's possible Sakurai has done all he can to get us Geno. Maybe if we get a Geno Mii, it could even have something special. Sans and Cuphead had music, Bomberman had alt colors, maybe Geno could get multiple music tracks, or even a unique Mii moveset of attacks or something added for him. Might be a little too close to getting a playable character, but I could see Sakurai doing a bit more for Geno, as he knows he's such a requested fighter. And again, with Nintendo choosing the DLC, maybe Sakurai really wants to try his best to give us Geno, even though he's not able to do it fully. We will find out what we get here in just a few short days, if this is the final fate for Geno. If somehow we get past the Sephiroth presentation without the Geno Mii costume returning in any form, then we can pull out the tinfoil and wildly speculate, but for now, I'm expecting a Geno Deluxe Mii on Thursday, and with Deluxe Miis being the next best thing to a fully playable fighter, I'll be pretty happy to see Geno at least get that. I'll just be picking up a Mii Gunner alongside my Banjo and Little Mac as my Smash mains. And my personal headcanon for what's going on here will be that Geno's spirit is inhabiting a Mii costume to come in and fight in Smash. I figure if I think of it that way, it'll feel like Geno really did get in Smash. Just instead of using the puppet toy from Mario RPG, he's now using a Geno-looking Mii costume to fight. There are, of course, plenty of other Mii costumes that could show up with Sephiroth on Thursday. The Chocobo hat from Smash 4 will likely return as well. We could get a new Final Fantasy Mii costume, either specifically Final Fantasy VII characters, or just general Final Fantasy stuff. Sephiroth's Spirit Board will bring some much-needed Final Fantasy VII character spirits into Smash at the very least. Black Mage, I think, could make for an excellent Mii costume, maybe even a deluxe one if they double up on those here with Geno and Black Mage, or if Geno somehow survives this round and doesn't get a Mii costume, I could see Black Mage being a really good deluxe Mii. I also think the Lloyd Mii costume from Tales of Symphonia will show up on Thursday. It's the very last of the missing Namco Smash 4 Mii costumes, and there's a bit of a pattern happening with this second Fighters Pass and those Namco Mii costumes. Min Min had Heihachi, who is from a fighting game, just like Min Min. Steve had Gil, who has a blue sword, similar to the Diamond Minecraft weapons. Actually, all the Mii swords in Steve's set had blue weapons. Lloyd uses katana, and Sephiroth is known for his ridiculously long Masamune katana, so I figure Lloyd will fit to be revealed with Sephiroth due to the katana theme going on there. We've had a lot of talk about Ryu Hayabusa coming to Smash, but maybe it will end up like the no comment thing about Travis Touchdown and No More Heroes in Smash, that ended up with Travis as a Mii costume. Maybe Hayabusa will be in Smash, but as a Mii costume. Hayabusa uses a katana as well, so if there's a katana theme happening with this Mii set to go along with Sephiroth's Masamune, it could happen here. There's also, of course, someone like Chrono from Chrono Trigger, who is both a Square character and a Katana user. Maybe other Square games like Neku from The World Ends With You could get Miis as well, or characters from other Final Fantasy games like Terra or something. Thursday will be interesting to see the Mii lineup that comes with Sephiroth. There's a lot of good choices. Speaking of Miis, we should probably talk about Kako Mallow. Is it still in play? Well, we'll have to wait and see what Mii costumes we get with Sephiroth on Thursday to be sure, but there's a very good reason now to believe Kako Mallow is likely dead. If we get Geno as a deluxe Mii and a Mallow hat on Thursday, and it looks like the Mallow hat from the Kako Mallow leak, then obviously Kako Mallow is still happening. But if this doesn't happen, and we still get a Geno deluxe Mii, I can't imagine a Mallow hat would be saved for later, so that would pretty much kill the leak. Also, Doom Guy seems a lot less likely now that we've passed the Game Awards, which would have been an excellent time to reveal him, since it was his anniversary and Doom Eternal was up for Game of the Year, though so was Final Fantasy VII Remake. Seems we were paying attention to the wrong Game of the Year nominee. Sephiroth was likely revealed at the Game Awards, specifically because the Final Fantasy VII Remake was up for so many awards, and even won several. So Doom Guy just seems much less likely to me now, since that was such a good time to reveal him, though I do think a first-person shooter rep should probably happen before this pass is done, but now I'm thinking Master Chief is the frontrunner for that genre. We'll have to wait and see if we get anyone though. This is just my own speculation, but I feel like it's a good time to lay out my thoughts on what probably led us to this point as far as Square characters and Nintendo go. I don't know what the specifics are for the timeline here, but I think a couple of things probably did happen. I think Hero was chosen as DLC and was likely originally supposed to have the Chocobo and Geno Mii costumes returned during that Mii costume set, but they pulled them from the first pass. It would explain why Hero only came with 4 Mii costumes, the fewest of any set of Mii costumes we've seen. At some point, the concept of doing a second pass probably happened, and Nintendo was choosing the DLC and likely talked to Square about getting a second character. Nintendo may have even tried to get Sora from Disney, like Imran Khan was saying, but something went wrong. Disney wouldn't play ball or something, so they went with another Nomura character, Sephiroth. I assume Square may have been the one to suggest Sephiroth, as it would promote the Final Fantasy VII remakes, which will be relevant for a while still here. Also, at some point, I think Sakurai came up with these deluxe Mii costumes, and having the music track with them and everything. I think that factored into probably pulling the Geno Mii costume from the first Fighter's Pass, so he could be upgraded for the second pass as a deluxe Mii costume. The first deluxe Mii we saw was Sans, and that happened after Hero's set of Miis. The timeline's uncertain, like I said, and I'm being completely speculative here, but I think something like this is probably what happened. An attempt to get Sora, but instead they went with Sephiroth. And Geno was probably supposed to happen as a Mii costume, but they held him off to do a deluxe costume. That's my guess as of right now for what's been going on with the Square reps in Smash. We will see what Sakurai says about the development and negotiations for Sephiroth, and if we even get a Geno Deluxe Mii costume on Thursday, but that's my guess for what probably went down. Okay, so while that's what I think is probably going on, Geno being saved for a Deluxe Mii costume and Sora wasn't able to be negotiated for with Disney, before I move forward, let's talk briefly about how Sora and Geno could still happen. I personally don't think they will, beyond Geno getting a Deluxe Mii costume maybe, but here's how it could happen. If somehow we get past this presentation without a Geno Deluxe Mii costume, then it will be time to think that maybe Sakurai got Sephiroth and Geno for us, and maybe that whole thing with the pass having an extra character, like how there's 6 characters in the second pass, might have been because he's worked so hard to get us a bonus character, and potentially it's Geno and it was done for the fans. But we'll have to wait and see if we get past this Sephiroth presentation without a Geno Mii costume. As for Sora, I think it would be a matter of if Disney is actually willing to come to the table. If Disney did, and they're just saving Sora for like the end, they are a good character to end the pass on. So I could see it happening, I'm just not counting on it. And I'll talk a bit more later about how potentially Sora could be a character they're actually building up to for the end of this whole thing. We also got an announcement of when the next wave of Amiibos will be happening, March 26th. So that's much sooner than the fall 2021 tweet that got deleted a while ago, and we were sort of worried we'd have to wait that long for this next wave of Amiibos. If Amiibo Theory holds up, we might be looking at Challenger Pack 9 in March. Oh, and as far as a surviving theory goes, belt theory still holds true, as Sephiroth has lots of belts. The only character to not wear a belt, I think, is Min Min, but she won the arms belt, so she still technically works for belt theory, even though her character in Smash doesn't visibly have one. March is actually the anniversary of Super Mario RPG, though anniversaries rarely seem to mean much for Smash reveals. Likely Geno will be a deluxe Mii costume on Thursday anyway. However, I will say Final Fantasy's Japanese anniversary is the date of Sakurai's presentation for Sephiroth in Japan. On Twitter, Gibbert wrote, "Just spreading the word here, but there is an anniversary for Final Fantasy in Japan when Sephiroth's presentation is on the 18th. Could we see more Final Fantasy content besides 2 music tracks in Smash?" So it's always tough to say if this is timed up on purpose or not. If anything, anniversaries seem like one of the trickiest things to try and use to predict Smash characters. But this might have been done on purpose. Sorry, Doom Guy, seems we were looking at the wrong anniversary, and the wrong Game of the Year contender this time. There's also a leak for a Ninja Gaiden Sigma trilogy, happening in March. So if Hayabusa survives this next wave of Miis, maybe Hayabusa could be our next character, possibly being revealed in March. Anyway, out of these amiibos, I'm specifically excited for the Banjo amiibo. An official piece of Banjo-Kazooie Nintendo merchandise is just too cool to pass up. Also, I absolutely loved seeing Banjo-Kazooie in full CGI glory in Sephiroth's trailer. That was my favorite moment, I think, of the whole trailer. It's just so cool to see Banjo-Kazooie in Nintendo stuff again. Okay, so now let's go over what potential leaks might be in play now, the leaks that actually had Sephiroth on them. First off, this isn't exactly a leak, but a really interesting prediction. Over on Twitter, Storm Yora wrote, "Fighter Pass Volume 2, and there's an image of Min Min, Steve, Sephiroth, Crash, Dante, and Breath of the Wild 2 Zelda, and also a crudely drawn 2B. This was after Steve was announced, but before Sephiroth. The final lineup of Crash, Dante, and Breath of the Wild 2 Zelda seems pretty realistic to me. Maybe not so much Dante, as we might have heard about a Capcom rep by now if one was happening. I definitely think Crash is super likely though, and same goes for Breath of the Wild 2 Zelda. If Nintendo really wants to promote her, if say she's a playable character in Breath of the Wild 2, I suspect she probably will be playable in Breath of the Wild 2, I could see some sort of cross-promotion by also making her a playable character in Smash. Anyway, we will see if Storm Yora's art continues to be prophetic or not, but at the end of the day, this wasn't really a leak, but just a lucky guess. Still pretty cool. There's a Reddit leak from over a year ago that goes into detail about Sephiroth, with some things seeming to line up. However, other things are dead wrong, especially stuff about the reveal trailer, and I think having this much info on the specifics of Sephiroth over a year ago seems extremely unlikely to me. So I'm thinking this one is totally fake and just someone who had a pretty good guess about how Sephiroth might play in Smash. There was a leak on the Japanese site 5chan a few days before the Game Awards, and it had Sephiroth on it. It claims Crash Bandicoot, Reimu, and Cosmos are the final 3 fighters. Though personally, after hearing Namco say they don't have any future plans for Cosmos, I doubt this one's legit either. And once again, it's probably just a lucky guess that happened to have Sephiroth on it. Though I will point out, it seems most people really think Crash will happen before this is all over and done with. I really hope so. Crash is a perfect candidate for Smash, and he'd be a great character to end off on or have as our big reveal for E3 this year or something. There's also this massive list of names from a 4chan post that's had every fighter we've gotten so far on it except Min Min. Although the list is super long, the post says, "Take what you will. Have a friend at Namco who's been helping out with Smash. As you know, Nintendo gave Sakurai a list of characters to choose from, but what was on it has been unknown for some time, resulting in a lot of red herrings for insiders. Friend claims to have knowledge of the names on the list, which is roughly 40. He's not sure who's in, but all were considered, so here goes." And then they list off a ton of names. Weird how low the Nintendo-owned character count is extremely low, with no sight of an 8th generation Pokemon either. This is all just hearsay, so choose what you believe. Now, with a list as big as 40 characters, it's not too hard to have every fighter we've gotten so far. However, it is still interesting to note certain characters that are often talked about in speculation aren't on here. So if this is a fake, it would be a huge gamble not to have characters like Master Chief, or Geno, or Dante. If one of those characters that a lot of people think are very likely had happened, it would have killed this leak. Also, Min Min being a first-party character could mean she was added in later fairly easily since it was in-house, if this list is legitimate. So there's a decent argument to be made that there's a reason Min Min isn't on here. She's an in-house Nintendo choice, so they didn't have her as part of this list. Looking at the list though, this would likely mean Sephiroth was chosen over Sora, unless Sora was attempted to be negotiated for after being chosen on the list, and then they ended up going with Sephiroth. As I'd assume Nintendo and Sakurai would go for Sora first, as Sora's probably the most requested character from the fans at this point. The real issue I have with this list and believing it is that it would imply Nintendo had already talked to all of these companies and could get all of these characters and then let Sakurai pick and choose, which seems like a really bad way to go about this. It would be odd to tell the companies after the fact if they got picked or not. It doesn't seem like good business practices to say maybe your character will be in Smash and then tell them no. Although maybe this was a list of names from companies who just told Nintendo, maybe they just emailed Nintendo and said they'd be cool with their characters in Smash. If the third-party companies initiated things by offering up their characters and Nintendo was a bit more free to pick and choose, it might not have been as awkward for Nintendo to decline them. Now, this is me doing heavy speculation on top of an already dubious random 4chan post of 40 names, so I don't know how much I believe this one, but it's worth keeping in mind for sure going forward. If it continues to be correct, at the end, it might end up being a legitimate list of names Nintendo had Sakurai choose from. I leave it up to you how much you think it's legit or not. The final leak is an old one from Vergeben, the 7 Square names they had heard. I did a video on this a long time ago, but the 7 names were Erdrick, Luminary, Slime, Sora, Geno, Sephiroth, and Chrono. Here's a post talking about the specifics of those 7 names. It says, okay, I'm going to come right out and say now that Sephiroth is one of the main names that I heard the Square Enix character may be at a point, but wound up recently looking more in favor of Dragon Quest character, since I have heard that from a majority of sources and people coming to me that are aware of a Dragon Quest character. Out of the 7 names, the 3 I've heard that the character most likely is Sephiroth. A Dragon Quest character, Erdrick, Luminary, and Slime. Slime was only ever mentioned once, but Erdrick and Luminary is mentioned the most, to the point where it seems likely they might share a character slot or something like that, if this is the actual outcome, which they could easily do. And Chrono. I heard the Square Enix character is not Sora. The only person I heard Geno from stated that they were told to not take that one seriously, which is similar to what the message you screenshot pretty much said too. There's technically an 8th Square Enix character I heard about, which is Arthur from Million Arthur, which Square Enix intentionally leaked to a department they viewed as lower, to the point where they purposely spread that to them mostly out of disrespect and to see if anyone would be dumb enough to share it online and any leaker would take it seriously, which made me laugh. Okay, so with that in mind, we now have Erdrick, Luminary, and Slime all basically happening when we got Hero, as they're all sort of part of that character. And now Sephiroth has happened, and likely Geno could be a deluxe Mii costume on Thursday. Sora might have had difficulties with securing the rights from Disney if Inran Khan is correct. So it's very possible this list of 7 names is in fact 7 Square characters that have had some form of negotiations for Smash. Chrono even uses a katana, so maybe a Chrono Mii costume could show up alongside Sephiroth on Thursday, which could explain what happened with every character on this list. Sora negotiated for it but fell through, Geno was a deluxe Mii costume, Sephiroth and all the Dragon Quest characters as playable characters, and Chrono was a Mii costume. In my opinion, this list is likely legitimate no matter what happens. But what it could result in for the remaining characters on it, Geno, Sora, and Chrono, who knows, we'll have to wait and see what happens on Thursday. There's also some interesting theories for what else might get added to Smash alongside Sephiroth. Sephiroth's reveal trailer was heavily World of Light themed, much like Hero's trailer, so both of our Square DLC reps have had ties to World of Light. Over on Twitter, Caleb wrote, between these 2 shots, I'd say we're getting more than a new character. Sephiroth is going to be the new final boss for an add-on to World of Light, or a brand new story mode that includes all of the DLC. Which would be really cool if they added on to World of Light somehow. Sephiroth did cut Galeem in half, so maybe he is the new final villain of Smash itself. His final form kinda works for that. Speaking of Sephiroth being a villain, what better time than now could there be to add in a boss rush mode? Maybe that's where their missing Porky spirit is. Maybe Sephiroth could bring in some heavily villain-focused DLC here. Either adding on to World of Light somehow, or maybe as its own separate thing. Again, like a boss rush mode, adding back in Porky as a boss and maybe some other characters. That'd be really cool if Sephiroth brought a bunch of villain stuff with him. Masked Poison wrote, hey PapaGenos, not sure if you noticed this, but a lot of people didn't. In Sephiroth's reveal trailer, there's a gameplay segment showing off Cloud's final Smash. However, it's different than usual, as the final Smash is actually Omni-Slash version 5, and not the normal in-game Omni-Slash. I don't exactly know what this means for Cloud, however it does imply that DLC characters can alter the qualities of already existing fighters. What do you think this could mean for the future of DLC? So this is true, Cloud now uses Omni-Slash version 5, at least in the Sephiroth reveal trailer. So maybe he has a special Final Smash when he does his Final Smash against Sephiroth, or maybe his Final Smash is being updated completely. Who knows, but it does seem Sephiroth could be updating other things beyond just adding in a new character with music tracks and a spirit board. Actually, the trailer was so heavily focused on Cloud vs. Sephiroth and World of Light that some people have theorized this could maybe all be building up to something even more exciting. Like I said, Hero's trailer was World of Light focused as well. It started off showing Darkon, while Sephiroth's trailer had him killing Galeem. Maybe this is all build up for a final Square rep with another World of Light themed trailer, something like Sora coming to finish it all off. Obviously, Sora works really well as a final super hype character to reveal for Smash Ultimate, and if these Square trailers with World of Light themes are actually building up to something, it could be Sora at the end that actually saves everyone in World of Light. Sora, of course, has already fought Sephiroth before, and if Sephiroth is the new final boss of Smash, that would make a lot of sense. This shot is even very reminiscent of the Keyblade Graveyard. I'm not personally holding out hope for Sora at this point, but speculation gonna speculate, right? Alright, well I think that's everything I wanted to say about where things are at after Sephiroth's reveal. Should have a lot more to talk about after the presentation on Thursday. I'm really excited to see how Sephiroth plays and what else we might get here. I have mixed feelings about Geno getting a Mii costume or not. Part of me is excited to see what that might look like, and if he gets a deluxe Mii costume, that's pretty close to being a playable fighter, so I'm happy about that. At the same time, if he doesn't get a Mii costume, we get past the presentation without seeing Geno, that could imply something else could be happening with him later down the line, which I don't know if I want to hold on to that hope. It's going to be tough to have the gamble of Geno just being a spirit the whole time, or possibly he's been held off to be a playable fighter, maybe even the last fighter revealed. I don't know. I have very mixed feelings about what will happen, but hopefully Thursday will give me my answer. If it does end up a Geno Deluxe Mii costume, I'm going to be really excited about that, so of course I'll live stream the presentation if you want to watch alongside with me. And if you guys have any thoughts or comments about any of the stuff I talked about in this video, feel free to leave them below. So once again, thank you guys for all the subscribes, all the likes, really helps out the channel. So if you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and do so, or like the video, or leave a comment, whatever you want. Until next time, have a good one.